Hello everyone, my name is Christian, and with another update around the corner, it's time to talk about who you should pull in version 3.6 of Honkai Star Rail. For this update, we have, oh my god, yes! Sorry, I just really like March. We have a new Remembrance unit joining the fray in Evernight, and finally, a new Preservation unit after a full year of waiting with HSR. Alongside these two, we have reruns for the Herta, again, and Anexa. An Exagoras. Lots of good in this update and beyond, so let's get into it. Let's pause real quick and take a brief word from our sponsor, LD Shop. With so many good characters coming out soon, many players simply don't have the jades they need to get them all. Now, if only there was a cheaper way to get top-ups for games like Star Rail and ZZZ. Well, that's where the sponsor of the video comes in, LD Shop. LD Shop is a safe and reliable top-up site for all your favorite games. They offer top-ups at a more affordable price than in-game, and can even activate your first top-up bonus if you haven't used it already. All you have to do is click the bundle you want, put in your server and UID, and your top-up will appear in-game shortly after. If you buy using my link as well, you can get a 5% and 15% coupon good for $50. Last but not least, if you consistently use LD Shop and spend over $80 for the month, you can get an Express Supply Pass completely free on your homepage. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you so much to LD Shop for sponsoring. Let's get back to the video. Before we start, I always get yelled at to plug my Discord, so hey, join the Discord if you haven't already. Now, there's a few important notes at the start here. As per usual, the collab characters are still available to pull, and if you haven't already gotten them, I would look to get on that soon. While we don't have an exact date as to when the banner will end, it was stated the characters would be here at least until version 3.6. With that update coming up, it could finally be time for the fake characters to take their leave. My other key note is that HSR has been announced as a totally free unit. He can only be claimed up to version 4.0, but if you're watching this video when it releases, I have a feeling you're gonna be just fine. Alright, that's all my notes done, so let's move on to the character I'm the most excited about personally, Evernight. Evernight is an Ice Remembrance 5-star, and as per the Remembrance path, she brings something peculiar to the table moveset-wise. She's a Remembrance character who helps Remembrance characters? Yeah, this is gonna be a doozy to say the least. To understand Evernight, we have to start with understanding her signature mechanic, Memoria. You can always see your Memoria stacks under Evernight's profile. You'll want to keep track of these for a few reasons. First of all, Memoria stacks improve the damage of Evernight's Memo Sprite up without a cap seemingly. However many Memoria stacks you can get in one go will continuously increase your damage. You can't just hold onto your stack to do insane levels of damage constantly though. The next thing to watch out for with Memoria stacks is when you exceed 16. When this happens, Evernight's Memo Sprite Eevee will self-destruct, doing massive damage to all enemies. Afterwards, you'll get some stacks of Memoria back and have to resummon Eevee to start the process all over again. Luckily, it's not too hard to build up Memoria stacks. You can gain Memoria in quite a few ways. First, when Eevee or Evernight loses HP, you'll gain 2 stacks. When Eevee attacks an enemy, you'll gain at least 1 stack, but it actually seems like 2 to me. I don't know, the special program's a bit weird. When Evernight uses her skill, you'll gain 5 stacks. I figured it would be 4, but it seems like Evernight has a trace that gives her extra Memoria. That's the only way I can see her getting more than 4 stacks from this skill. Actually, I wonder if that's why Eevee can get 2 stacks from the attack. You know what? Moving on. The last way to gain Memoria is having Evernight basic attack, which nets you 1 Memoria. I have a feeling basic attacking on this character isn't gonna be too helpful though. As far as I know, these are all the ways to get Memoria, and that by itself leaves a lot of room for creativity. With Eevee and Evernight giving Memoria every time they lose HP, the use of Hyacinth's signature light cone could be huge in gaining Memoria stacks fast. You could even double up if you wanted, putting a Hyacinth cone on RMC and Hyacinth for double the benefit. Before I get too excited with Theorycraft though, let's actually finish up Evernight's moveset. With her skill, Evernight can summon Eevee and increase the crit damage of Memo Sprites on her team. For every Memo Sprite on the team, her crit damage boost becomes even stronger, meaning she leans heavily into a mono Remembrance playstyle. Lastly, we have her ultimate, O Wakeful World, Good Night. Crazy title, and even crazier effect. When Evernight uses this, she'll do damage to all enemies, and she'll enter the Darkest Riddle state. Everything about her and Eevee is enhanced essentially, and you'll gain Memoria at an even more impressive rate. Trying to get to this form ASAP is going to be especially important to Evernight's personal damage. One additional note is that using Evernight's technique will apply the same buff as her skill, and it'll net you a free point of Memoria. Or, I guess 6 free points when you look at the special program. This character is confusing, man. Evernight is a very specific character, but has a great deal of potential to be an amazing support, and likely a good main DPS with the right Eidolons. She certainly won't be for everyone, but with more Remembrance characters likely coming in the future, she's someone to keep in mind for sure as a strong sub DPS. So, you should pull Evernight if you play Casterus. These two are a match made in heaven, and with the ideal teammate of Hyacinth as well, this duo will have all the HP in the world and plenty of opportunities to tear apart the opposing team together. This is, unfortunately, the only place I can really recommend Evernight. Since she seemingly can't restore her own HP in any way, it'll be hard to run her as a sustainless option for Aglaia, the only non-cast related Remembrance character in the entire game. She's niche for sure, but she's going to be an absolutely huge boost for that team. Next up, we have the Herta, and my opinion doesn't really matter here, but this feels like a very quick rerun for the Herta. She's been available 3 times in version 3.x alone, which is wild to think about and say out loud. I've actually already talked about the Herta in one of these Who You Should Pull For videos, so if you'd like a more in-depth explanation, I would suggest watching the video for version 3.2. Nowadays, I'll be giving you a much shorter version since the character has been out for quite a while. The Herta is an Ice Erudition 5-star who is an absolute powerhouse in AoE content. Her kit is also one of the most interesting in Star Rail with highly unique mechanics and some of the most text in the entire game. While she lacks some stomping power in modes like MOC and Apocalyptic Shadow now, she's still by far one of the best characters when it comes to pure fiction and is worth pulling for that reason alone. Herta's main strength is her enhanced skill, which is absolutely devastating to the enemy. She'll gain this enhanced skill every time she ults, and is nice enough to action advance herself after using the ultimate just to make your enemy's day that little bit worse. Her ability to shred groups is unlike anything else in this game, and while she does have the condition of needing another Erudition character to reach her full strength, there are plenty of great free and premium options available. While she isn't a great character for single target, and isn't as flexible as the other top DPS options, don't sleep on the Herta as still one of the most all-around solid characters in the entire game. You should pull the Herta if you don't have a great character for pure fiction. She is one of the best pure fiction units and it's not close. If this is a mode you struggle with, pick up the Herta. You will not regret it. You should pull the Herta if you don't have other premium 5-stars. Herta, in my opinion, is one of the friendliest characters in the game for new players. So if you've just started playing recently, picking up the Herta will be an amazing choice for the future of your account. Well, that's the first half 5 stars done, so you know what that means. Time to go over the 4-star characters and light cones on banner. For 4-star character options, we have Misha, Gwenhyphen, and Xlipyth. Obviously, most 4-stars in this game aren't incredible, so to get use out of these characters, you're gonna have to be pretty creative. Misha is a fairly weak main DPS character who can really struggle compared to most other options. The same applies to Xlipyth, but with the way her kit works, she has a lot of flexibility to be played as a crit damage and break character, excelling the most in a hybrid build. She's far from incredible, but is one of the most fun characters in the game to use in my opinion. Lastly is Gwenhyphen, who as a Nihility character can apply DOT damage and vulnerability to your enemies. Definitely a fun budget option all things considered, but she's really not amazing. While the characters this banner aren't fantastic by any means, the Light Cone banner is perhaps one of the best we've had in a long time. Besides Evernight's Light Cone, we also have the Herta Signature, which is a great option for many Erudition characters. Yet, perhaps the most interesting part of this banner, we have the 4-star cones Dreams Montage and Dance Dance Dance. Also after the Charmony Fall, I suppose, but that one's just okay. Let's start with Dreams Montage. The Light Cone at S5 gives 12% speed to an Abundance character, and will regenerate energy every time a weakness broken enemy is hit. This cone is great for Lingshaw and Gallagher, but can really be useful on anyone, as speed is simply an incredible stat to have more of. Now, let's talk about Dance Dance Dance. This is the Cone of Dreams for any high-level player. Equipable by Harmony characters, this cone can advance your action by 24% at S5, a massive boost in the action order. While its value isn't immediately obvious, trust me, this cone is something that will only become more valuable to you the more you play the game and the better you get at it. These two light cones alone warrant pulling on this banner, but with Evernight being a remembrance character, and those characters don't really have many options, I would especially recommend dumping a few pulls to see if you get lucky. This wraps up the first half of Update 3.6, so now let's move on to the second half. This half reunites us with our companion and newest free character, Heng PT. Heng is luckily a lot less complicated than Evernight, but there's definitely still a lot of intrigue and uniqueness to his kit. The fun starts with his skill, Terra Omnibus. Heng will apply shields to the whole party, but will more importantly, designate one ally as Bondmate. The Bondmate will gain Heng's summon, Soul Dragon. Soul Dragon is a huge part of Heng PT's kit, providing shields when it takes action. This dragon can do a lot more than fly around looking pretty though. When Heng uses his ultimate, the dragon will attack all enemies, and will be capable of using a follow-up attack to deal damage and stack even more shields for your allies. Moreover, the dragon will also cleanse any debuffs when he moves, giving your team some of the most reliable sustainability in the game. Like I said, this isn't too complicated, but this character still offers a great deal of potential. The special program itself said, there's a lot more to Soul Dragon than what we were shown, with characters seemingly being able to action advance it, and it likely giving some sort of powerful buff to the Bondmate. While Heng PT is certainly different from our last preservation unit, Aventurine, he offers a lot, and will likely be a fantastic option for all accounts. Especially with the new boss shown seemingly linked to having a shielder. Well played, Hoyo, well played. So, you should pull Heng if you want Eidolons. I mean, we're getting him for free, what did you expect me to say? Now, what I can say is, there are not many good preservation cones available right now, so if you love Heng PT, getting his light cone will likely be a very good choice to make him even stronger. Outside of that, Heng will fit in many teams such as Finon teams, follow-up teams, and maybe even DOT. He is a solid free unit who, I cannot say this enough, you should make use of when we get him. And finally, we've made it to the last 5-star character of the update, Anexa. This is his first rerun since 3.2, and boy oh boy has the perception around him changed. That new perception has deservingly changed as well. He was one of the most overlooked characters in quite a while, and he has smashed all expectations. Now, let's go over his kit. Anexa is a Wind Erudition 5-star, and has one of the more unique concepts in Star Rail. He is a character who is capable of consistently applying additional weaknesses to enemies similar to Silverwolf. This effect can also be triggered with only his basic attack, instead of requiring a skill. When Anexa has enough weaknesses on a target, a state known as Qualitative Disclosure will trigger. This increases damage taken from Anexa, and he will automatically trigger an additional usage of his skill for free when doing any attack to a target in this state. His ultimate is also capable of applying every weakness to all enemies on the field and putting his enemies in the sublimation state, making it so that they can't take action. Yeah, he's got a lot going on to say the least. Anexa as a character is probably one of the most overall useful in Honkai Star Rail. He has devastating power only made better by the recent character Ceridra, and has proven to be adaptable to anything that the game throws at him. While initially being a character intended to be a support character for the Herta, he's gone far beyond this and has become a great character all on his own. So, you should pull Anexa if you lack a powerful main DPS. Anexa is a pub stomper capable of outputting damage unlike anything HSR has seen before. He's usable in all 3 game modes and has a pretty low skill floor, making him fairly easy to use. You should get Anexa if you have the Herta. This was his advertised purpose, and surprise, surprise, he's pretty good at being a Herta battery. You have to build him a bit differently, but it's still very worth it. And lastly, you should pull Anexa if you have no other premium options. Similar to the Herta, Anexa is one of the best characters in the game for new players in my opinion. I know experienced players will yell at me for suggesting Herta over Anexa, which isn't what I'm doing by the way, but if you're a newer player, either of these characters will be fun for you. Just remember to pick what you like the most. The second half 5 stars are done, so now we move on to the 4-star characters and light cones available. Unfortunately for players pulling on this half though, your options are far less impressive. For characters, we have Hanya, Serval, and Su Shang available. Starting with Serval, they've once again put a good character for the Herta on the second half banner. As annoying as that is, that's Serval's only use in today's game, is just being a battery for the Herta. She is definitely good at it if you build her right though. Moving on to Su Shang, she's similar to Xlipyth, a mediocre main DPS who does have some merit as a hybrid character, benefiting from both crit and break stats. I personally like Xlipyth more, but look at this footage on screen real quick. Yeah, Su Shang is pretty good with the right stuff. Lastly, we have Hanya. I personally feel Hanya is one of the most unfortunate 4-stars in this game. She has a super interesting and unique moveset that was swept under the rug by newer, shinier 5-star characters. She can increase damage taken, restore skill points, and increase speed and attack. Hanya is a fun character that can be utilized by something like a Finon team, but sadly, she's mainly a niche pick over any other character. Onto the light cones, yeah, these are just okay. Only Silence Remains is a hunt light cone that gives fine stats, but is less helpful than something like Swordplay. Landau's Choice is a decent preservation light cone, and will probably be a solid choice for Dan Heng PT if you don't want, or can't get his signature light cone. Lastly is Perfect Timing, a good cone for a very healing-focused Gallagher. It increases his effect res and healing by a healthy amount, making your team far more unlikely to go down. While not bad, these cones aren't anything to ride home about, especially not Only Silence Remains. The other light cone banner is significantly better, so I would really only pull on this banner to get a character signature light cone. That's really about it. And with that, we can finally begin wrapping up for the day. While I'm still confused as to why the Herta is rerunning so soon, this is overall a great set of banners for new players. Alongside a free Dan Heng and a free Archer, Anexa and the Herta are great free-to-play options, and players could choose to get Dan Heng's light cone as well if they wanted to, since you get a lot of pulls early on. The banners here are solid, but let's all keep in mind, Amphoreus isn't done yet. Cyrene is on the horizon as that patch 3.7 character, and let's all be honest here, it looks like Elysia, it talks like Elysia. If they don't make her incredible, communities will go to war. Keep that in mind, and remember, these videos are simply a guide and some suggestions. Pull whoever you want and whoever makes you happy. I promise that with enough effort, you'll always be able to make them work. Thank you all so much for watching, I really hope you enjoyed. I've got plenty more good videos coming out soon, so I will see you guys then. Bye bye!